Well, welcome along, everybody, or welcome back if you joined us for the EuroNASCAR Pro Race earlier on to Circuit Ricardo Tormo here, 20 kilometres outside of Valencia for our opening weekend of racing in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for this season. This circuit, which has been the Spanish home, really, to the NASCAR Grand Prix of Spain since 2012, our first ever visit here. And we are delighted to be back at the circuit that actually concluded our 2020 season way back in December. So it's Mark Whelen that's chatting to you now to bring you through all of the action on the build-up to this EuroNASCAR 2 race, the first time we've seen the EuroNASCAR 2 competitors out on this circuit. And if you're not familiar with the circuit itself, let's just show you a quick graphic of the track layout here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. It is 2.489 miles long. It's about 4 kilometres long, and it's a circuit which has some heavy braking areas, in particular turn number 2 at Duan, good overtaking opportunities there. Turn 6 at Aniel Nieto and turn 8 at Bernard Martinez, all possible overtaking opportunities. And if you can get a run up the inside going into Adrian Campos, turn number 14, there's possibilities there too as well. So there's a few options for overtaking. But other than that, the infield section, as you can see through turns 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12, all tight and twisty, but it does allow cars to run side by side as well, and we saw plenty of that in the EuroNASCAR Pro Race earlier on. As for the races here at Valencia, well, it's our 10th weekend of racing here, and for the EuroNASCAR 2 competitors, the driver with the most starts on the grid is Ariana Casali, who's got 12 starts in EuroNASCAR 2 on the grid. The most EuroNASCAR wins in EuroNASCAR 2 goes the way of Vittorio Garelli, who's on 3, but of course he stepped up from EuroNASCAR 2 to the top flight to EuroNASCAR Pro for this year. So the cars are making their way out onto the circuit, ready to work their way around and line up on the grid for what is scheduled to be a slightly shorter race for the EuroNASCAR 2 competitors. That will be held over 15 laps or 60 kilometres there or thereabouts. And as they wind their way out onto the circuit, we can jump on board with 3 times a runner-up in this series, Fred Gabion, who's going to show us around the lap of the track.
Welcome guys to Valencia. So we have a big straight line with almost the top speed of the NASCAR every year, and it's really important to keep a lot of speed in the first corner because it's a really fast left corner. Just after the fast left corner, you have a really strong left, an hairpin, and I think for me it's the slowest turn on the track, and you have to brake really hard and try to keep your brake until the apex, and after try to keep the rhythm until the turn 11. It's a lot of right and left corner, all in second gear, so trying to keep a good rhythm to be fast, and after one of the key on this track is really the chicane before the turn 11, because you have to brake on the curve, and if you brake too hard, you can kill easy your tires only in one lap. So it's really hard to make a good brake and keep enough speed until the apex of the turn 11. After we have a chicane, a right and left, really fast in third or second gear, maybe that depends of the feeling of the driver. And a really hard last left corner just before the straight line. This corner is really hard because all the brake is in a little left corner, and it's really hard to see the apex because you don't know if you have to look by your windows or in front of you because the chassis can block your vision. So it's really key because you have to keep a lot of speed to be fast on the straight line, and that's all for this track. Really interesting. I hope you will enjoy the race this weekend.
There we go, there is a lap around the Circuit Ricardo Tormo with Fred Gabion guiding us through it. As we say, it's been the home to the Spanish round of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for a good number of years, but it is a circuit that's also seen the likes of MotoGP and World Superbikes and GP2, DTM, World Touring Cars, World Series by Renault, and it's been a popular Formula 1 testing venue over the years. In terms of NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, it's seen a lot of Spanish success as well over the years. The likes of Ander Villarino has claimed pole positions, fastest laps and race wins, 6 of them here in the past. Borja Garcia, another Spaniard, has claimed a couple of wins in the past. And even in EuroNASCAR 2, which is what's heading out onto circuit now, when he was racing in it, Salvador Tinio Arroyo was also another driver who claimed poles and fastest laps, but we've never had a Spaniard win in a EuroNASCAR 2 race. So we are, I don't think, going to get that even this weekend, because I don't think we've got a Spaniard in the entry list at all over the course of this weekend. So the cars are there lining up on the grid. Andre Feigold hopefully will be able to pick up with an interview with a driver or two once he's down there. We'll get the cue and hand over to him as and when he's got somebody to chat to. But for this race, it is the Czech driver Martin Dubek who qualified on pole position. Now, Martin's time was a 1 minute 42.339 for pole position for this race.
And the race control, that's Filippo Godet. Thank you. No, your problem. You do your job. So, Vladimiros, you're starting from second. It was a blink of an eye that separated you and Martin Dubek in qualifying. Do you expect such a close race?
Yeah, I mean, it has been a good week until so far, so I will give my best to represent my team as best possible. And with the momentum during the race, the stability, I think we can achieve it. This is my main goal.
It's quite windy here in Spain. Does it affect somehow the car, the wind?
Sure, yes. In the corners, you have to be careful when it's windy, so it will be an interesting race, as in the morning we have high temperatures and now we have more wind. So everybody have to adapt. So this will be the key, I think.
All right, thank you very much and good luck.
So there we go. Yeah, just to reiterate, yeah, a little bit breezy out there. Vladimir Stoicis will be pushing hard to see whether he can claim his maiden victory. Apologies, I just caught the front end of that interview there. Didn't know it was coming. Yeah, Vladimir Stoicis on the outside of the front row of the grid. Martin Dubek, I was talking about, sitting now in pole position. His 1 minute 42.339 pole for this race actually would have put him, I think, 6th on the grid for EuroNASCAR Pro. So number 7 Dubek on pole. Vladimir Stoicis number 1 alongside. Number 50, this car here, Tobias Dauenhauer, sitting down the second row of the grid. He's the only driver on the grid that has had a pole, has had a win, and has had a fastest lap in the past in EuroNASCAR 2. There aren't many other drivers, I don't think, if any, that are present that have had any kind of success here in the past. So we could be adding a new name to what is a very long list of drivers in EuroNASCAR 2. And that's largely because most drivers who've been successful in EuroNASCAR 2 step up the following year into EuroNASCAR 1. So alongside Dauenhauer's 42, Francesco Caristo. This car here, number 27, is Pierluigi Veronesi, who qualified 5th quickest. Delighted to see Pierluigi Veronesi back in the championship. He finished 7th in EuroNASCAR 2 back in 2019. He was 12th in the championship back in 2018. Now part team owner with Double V as well. The former GT Italian driver who also raced in the likes of the Superstar Series. That's Advait Dioda, who is going to line up alongside Pierluigi Veronesi. So that's the number 56 car in the hands of the Indian, the London-based Indian. Advait Dioda, again, another driver who we didn't see anything of last year, but it's great to see him back behind the wheel of the Cal Racing machine. He finished 4th in EuroNASCAR 2 back in 2019, so he sits there on that 3rd row of the grid, and alongside him will be number 22, and then onto the 4th row of the grid will be number 22, Justin Kuntz, who will have his DF1 Racing teammate Simon Palat sitting alongside. So cars all busy lined up there on the grid, and any second now we should be good to go with the national anthems.
Que acoge esta prueba inaugural del campeonato, escuchemos
so the American national anthem, and then we should be leading into the national anthem of our host country, the Spanish national anthem.
muy bien, todo preparado.
So there we go, the American national anthem, followed by the national anthem of our host country, the NASCAR Grand Prix of Spain. Now, I did spot there was one car in the pit lane, so it looks as though there is one car starting from the pit lane. I do wonder if that might be car number 90, because I know Nave Talor, with his not only motorsport Chevrolet Camaro, the number 90 car in the hands of the Israeli, had issues in qualifying, so wasn't able to turn a lap. The team have worked hard to try and get that car repaired. It was a white car, and Nave's is a white car, so I'm trying to second guess what the car was, because it wasn't easy to spot, but I think that might be the car that's starting from the pit lane. Could only see it head on, so that was the difficulty with that one. So we're about 3 minutes away from hearing those infamous words before all of a sudden we will hear the reverberation of hopefully 23 5.7 litre V8 engines starting to rumble. That's Alberto Panebianco, the number 89 car. A little wave from Alberto. It's great to see Alberto out, 24 years of age, the Italian driver. Did 4 NASCAR Whelen Euro Series races with us last year, all of those here in Valencia as well. Background of single-seater racing and kart racing has Alberto, but hopefully he's in the category for the season, not only motorsport. So the drivers are ready, and I think any second now we should be getting the engines springing their way into life. So the grid is being cleared, just one sole mechanic remaining with the slave battery where required, and then we will be able to get the rolling lap underway for our first round, remember, for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division, as it's called nowadays. We had Pro out earlier on. That's for the pro drivers. EuroNASCAR 2 really is restricted to bronze and silver graded drivers. So in other words, it's for the young drivers and for the amateur drivers. That's the overall category, but it's split into 3 subcategories as well. There's a separate Legend Trophy for drivers aged 40 and over, a separate trophy for rookies, those in their first season of EuroNASCAR racing, regardless of their age and experience, and the Lady Trophy as well for any female drivers that we have on the grid, which should include Alina Leubniger and also Aliana Casali, who are fighting it out for that one. So we will, I think, just remain silent for a split second, and hopefully we'll be able to hear those infamous words on the build-up to our race.
Manager del NWES, equipo número 10. Está verdaderamente nervioso aquí. Bienvenido, Jean-Claude, bienvenido a nuestro circuito.
Ženska me tjera, ali stati kod ovog prvog.
Bueno, Jean-Claude, todo preparado. Va a dar la gran frase mítica. Jean-Claude Salvador, gran marshal de la segunda carrera. Tout le micro, c'est pour vous. Drivers, start your engine.
There we go. A little later than I expected, but the indication is given for the drivers to start their engines. So that's it now. The last team mechanic is leaving our drivers, and they are very much now on their own, working in conjunction with their spotter to see as to what's going to unfold over the course of the next 15 laps, our opening race for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division. All of the cars identical, body shapes of course subtly different. I mentioned that in EuroNASCAR Pro, largely Chevrolet had been the car to have. They'd had 12 wins compared to Ford's 5 as it was at the beginning of the race, Ford having made it 6 with that win for Loris Hazelmans. Well, in EuroNASCAR 2, it's Ford that's had the most win. 8 wins since our first ever EuroNASCAR 2 race here, only 5 to Chevrolet. And the first Chevy on the grid is in 7th position, Justin Kuntz down there in 7th position. So it's Fords on the first couple of rows. We've got the Shadow mixed in there as well, and the EuroNASCAR FJ as it's badged. But it's Fords that are towards the sharp end of this grid, and Chevys, which are the most populous car. We've got more Chevys on the grid than anything else, but the leading one is the German driver, Justin Kuntz, in the number 22 for DF1 Racing, who qualified 7th quickest. So off they go onto their formation lap. Remember, all of these cars are limited to the amount of tyres they can use over the weekend. They get 4 brand new tyres. They've got 2 extra tyres to add to that will have been used in one of the 3 practice sessions yesterday. That's 6 tyres. That's all they get for the weekend. 4 of those tyres, the new ones, have to be bolted on for qualifying. And then the rest of them you just have to manage over the course of this race here and the race tomorrow as well. So it is really a case of managing the tyres. Don't take too much life out of them early on. Thankfully, this time of year, it's a little bit cooler, the ambient temperature in Spain, than it would be maybe another month or so's time. But over the course of the weekend, tyre management is absolutely critical, and staying out of trouble as well. Remember, we're just in the regular season, so the drivers will count their best 10 of the 12 rounds in the regular season. 40 points for a race win in the regular season, 35 if you're second, 34 if you're third. It diminishes by 1 point for every position thereafter. The driver that starts in grid position and gains the most places compared to finishing position also picks up an extra 4 points in this race as well. And we will also try and keep track as to who is the leading driver in the Legend Trophy, the Rookie Trophy and the Lady Trophy. And hopefully we're going to be able to bring you at the end of this race, not just a race winners interview, but we'll try and bring you some other interviews, and hopefully we'll stick around to do the podiums as well. We'll have to wait and see. A few technical issues earlier on prevented that for EuroNASCAR Pro, but I think we're good to go in this one. So the cars just working their way around the circuit. There is the number 66 car of Simon Palat. Great to see Simon out there and pushing hard. Raced for Feed Vict Racing, which was Jacques Villeneuve's team last year. And the 19-year-old finished 4th in the rookie standing, 8th overall in the EuroNASCAR 2 champion. He did really well, actually, in the EuroNASCAR Esports Series. He finished 3rd in that, which was our iRacing supported series. Thanks to iRacing for their support, and Hoosier Tyres, and TJ, who are supplying the winners' ring and the championship trophy, and, of course, our title sponsors, Whelen Engineering, back with us again for 2021 as well. So the cars just building that last little bit of tyre temperature. They've got themselves into neat 2x2 order. Changing for the starting procedures for this year is that the cars have to follow the grid hatches in reality, either to the right of the grid hatches painted on the start-finish line or to the left set of grid hatches. They have to remain in those lines, and they'll be about a metre away from each other as well. They can accelerate when the lights go out, but they can't change from those lanes until they reach the start-finish line. Subtle changes to the starting procedure, so you see a wider gap between the left lane and the right lane than we've had previously. Here we go, buckle up everybody. For the first time in 2021, EuroNASCAR 2 is about to go green here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo for the Spanish Grand Prix, the NASCAR Grand Prix. Away we go. It's a good start from the Czech driver, the pole sitter Martin Dubek, who's being pushed along by Tobias Dauenhauer, who I think is going to come through into second. Yeah, and Vladimir's Choices drops down into 3rd position, but he's under pressure from Pierluigi Veronese, who I think had slotted himself through into 4th place and is doing battle with Advait Dioda, who is trying to outbrake him around the outside, heading up towards turn number 2, which is Doohan. But nice start for Martin Dubek, was able to straight away take his almost a normal racing line through Aspar, which is turn number 1, and look to try and press on in the lead. So it's a Hendricks Motorsport 1-2 at the moment. It's the Academy Motorsport Alex Caffey car of Choices that's there in 3rd position. 4th place is Veronese, who's under pressure from Advait Dioda. But Advait Dioda has got Justin Kuntz for DF1 Racing, the lead Chevy, right behind him as they fight over what is 5th and 6th place. But the leading trio in the early stages, heading up towards turn number 8, which is Bernard Martinez, just starting to gap Veronese, who sits there in 4th. Through turn 9, up to 3rd gear. We heard from Fred Gabby on either 2nd or 3rd, depending on the driver. They'll be down to 2nd for turn number 11. A little bit of a snatch break in the midfield there. I think possibly from Advait Dioda. Cold tyres just locking a little bit earlier than he expected, and he applied as much brake pressure as he dared, but it was the unloaded wheel, because at that point, you're trying to turn and brake to slow the car down at the time. So the unloaded wheel, it's very easy to snatch it at that point of the circuit. Up towards the conclusion of the lap, turn number 14, Adrian Campos, as they head out of the corner. It is going to be the car in the hands of the pole sitter, Martin Dubek, that leads as they come over the start-finish line, and the lead advantage between himself and Tobias Dauenhauer is 0.4 of a second, with a further 0.3 back from that being Vladimir's Choices as they head through turn number 1 on lap number 2. Pierluigi Veronese is 4th, Advait Dioda's 5th, Justin Kuntz is 6th place. The leading Legend driver, Max Lancer, he's the first of the drivers that's over 40. Sitting there in 7th place, Simon Palat, Fabricio Amata, and Tom Krasinas, the Greek driver, completes the top 10 at the moment. Good first lap from Krasinas, I've got to say as well. Started 14th, up to 10th from him. Now, the key to this is going to be trying to get a break and then just trying to maintain the gap if you can. The top 3 are close-ish, but not tripping over each other at this stage, so they're not squabbling, so that's not going to hold them up too much. So it's going to be difficult for Pierluigi Veronese in 4th place to catch up with these top 3. He's also got a little bit of a gap between himself and Advait Dioda, the London-based Indian, who is turning his way up towards turn number 8 now, which is Bernard Martinez. Turns really off camber on the exit of that corner. It's very easy to run wide heading out of turn number 8 because it's the highest point of the circuit, and then it starts to drop away from there through turn 9, 10 and turn 11 and 12. The lowest point of the circuit is actually the start-finish straight here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. And because it's in a natural bowl, no matter where you are in the grandstands, you can pretty much see the entire circuit. It is a fantastic venue for spectating. So leading 3 still together. Joyce is getting very close towards the tail end of the Tobias Downhour as they headed in towards Adrian Campos that time through, but nothing doing for the Cypriot. He sits firmly behind last year's runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2, Tobias Downhour. He's the only driver in the field of EuroNASCAR 2 competitors that has won a previous race around here. Everybody else has moved on to EuroNASCAR Pro, all the former winners. So unless Tobias Downhour claims the victory, we are going to have a first-time winner at Valencia. He's the only driver that would prevent that from happening. And at the moment, he's sitting there in 2nd place, but looking for the lead over his Hendricks Motorsport teammate that lies ahead. Martin Dubeck pushing hard. He's won 2 EuroNASCAR 2 races in the past. Tobias Downhour has got 3 victories under his belt. For Vladimir Choitzes, who sits there in 3rd position, he's not had a win. He did have a podium finally towards the end of last season, what was a stellar first season in his rookie season. And at the moment he is pushing as hard as he can. He's not getting dropped, is he? Tobias Downhour was the rookie champion last year in his first season, so he finished runner-up overall in the series. But Vladimir Choitzes is right with him at this stage. So through turn number 11, down the short straight that brings them up towards Champi Herreros, which is turn number 12, which I would imagine from a driver's perspective that must be a great corner because it's so quick through there. And then you head uphill through this sweeping turn number 13, which then brings you back downhill again once more in towards the braking area for the conclusion of yet another lap. This is lap number 3 now that is about to be chalked into the book. Wheel of tyres suggests that something might have happened on the approach in towards Adrian Campos, but I think everybody is still going. Over the start-finish line, Dubeck leads. There is a slow number 12 car. Now that is going to be Alina Leubniger, who is running in 21st position at the moment in her rookie season. Seen her in the Club Challenge in the past. She's one of 2 drivers eligible for the Lady Trophy. Herself and Ariana Cassily will do battle over that this year, in the absence of Julia Landauer, who scooped up that particular trophy last year. And I've got to say, did a very good job of finishing 5th overall in the standings. And Julia was on the overall podium here as well at the end of last year. Sadly, isn't with us for this weekend. The leading trio out of turn 5 up towards Aniel Nieto, which is turn number 6. Still Dubeck from Tobias Downhour from Vladimir Choitzes, a forward 1, 2, 3 at this stage of the race. 4th is Pierluigi Veronese at the wheel of his EuroNASCAR FJ, but Tobias Downhour running a little bit wide there, heading in towards Bernard Martinez, and that's opened the door for Vladimir Choitzes to try and squeeze his way through, but don't think he's going to make it. No, they go back towards the next of the right-handers, and Tobias Downhour had the inside line for that, so rather got away with that a little bit, but it has just allowed now Martin Dubeck to open up the best part of an extra car length or 2's gap between himself and what is a pair now fighting for second, because the leader is getting away. The gap first to second was 0.35 of a second. It's going to be at least double that, I would have thought, by the end of this one. Look towards the braking area for Adrian Campos. Need to be careful not to run wide. We saw penalties being issued to the likes of Alan Day and Gianmarco Ercoli and Luca Lasser in the EuroNASCAR Pro race earlier on. They all got 5-second penalties ultimately and dropped off the podium in the case of some of those drivers. So they just need to stay within the confines of the circuit. The lead advantage, was 0.3 of a second. It's now up to 1.1 seconds now between Martin Dubeck and the chasing pack. There's number 88, Max Lancer. Great to see Max back behind the wheel, having done a part season last year. His last race of the season was Autodrom Grobnik in Croatia, where he suffered a hand injury, and that prevented his inclusion and participation for the rest of the season. Justin Kuntz now is also looking to try and get in the mix as well. He's managed to catch up with the 56 Cal racing machine of Advait Deoda. So that's the leading Chevy Justin Kuntz, lying down in 6th position overall, the hugely experienced German, looking to try and close in. Justin Kuntz racing in EuroNASCAR Pro last year. He raced in EuroNASCAR 2 back in 2019, where he finished 9th in the standings. He was 9th in 2018 as well. You've seen that number 22 car in the hands of Justin Kuntz. Justin has been out racing in the States as well before, in the Camping Truck Series. At the moment, his focus is fully on trying to catch the Cal racing machine of Advait Deoda that lies ahead. Advait Deoda is focusing his effort on trying to close in on the black and day-glow car of Pierluigi Veronese. No matter where you look, there are battles all the way through the field. They are already, would you believe, on lap number 5 as well. With 4 laps completed, they're on lap number 5. We are at 1/3 distance already, and Martin Dubeck has led everyone so far. Now, the big loser in all of this is Francesco Garisto, who is now showing is down in 18th position for number 42 car. Started 4th on the grid. They're not quite sure what's happened to him over the course of this race. Over the start-finish line comes a good little battle actually heading towards us now. That is Yevgen Sokolovsky that's in the middle of it. So that's Ian-Eric Varden, Alberto Panebianco, Yevgen Sokolovsky, and I think Nave Talor as well off the back of the grid, whatever the problems were with his not only motorsport Chevrolet Camaro. The number 90 car in the hands of the Israeli driver, going well now, up to 13th position, having started, I think it was 23rd on the grid. So could well be on for gaining the extra 4 points, one would have thought. Now, the lead trio fairly equidistantly spread at this stage. So Martin Dubeck has enough of a gap between himself and Tobias Downhauer so as not to worry. Vladimiros Choitzes has also fallen off the coattails of Tobias Downhauer. So the top 3 for the first time have just settled themselves down a bit. It's the fight for 4th and 5th that probably looks better. 4th, 5th and 6th, which is Veronese, Deoda and Justin Kuntz just coming into shot now. Yeah, Deoda still under pressure from Justin Kuntz, who's still locking the wheels on that number 22 Chevy. At the moment, though, the 23-year-old German cannot quite manage to get right up onto terms with Advait Deoda, as the leaders are about to now complete lap number 6. Fastest lap of this race, with Martin Dubeck, the race leader, 1 minute 43.365. And remember, that's important because it's the fastest laps that the drivers set in this race that give us the grid for tomorrow's EuroNASCAR 2 race. And at the moment, we already know the number 7 Ford that leads this race will start from pole position tomorrow, because it will start in the hands of Loris Hasemans on pole position for the EuroNASCAR Pro race. Damage there, and bodywork being thrown off Justin Kuntz's car. That was now, he must have had a problem somewhere. Has a tyre gone down? Yeah, it's a tyre that's gone down. We saw him locking that tyre, didn't we? Heading in towards turn number 10, but that was the unloaded wheel that was locking, and that's been a tyre that maybe has had a little bit of contact or something, so it's ripped the side of the car off it, just the fiberglass side to it. It's not affected any of the safety features on the car. You can see all of the metal work that surrounds them, but that means that we've got yellow flags localised waving on the start-finish straight because of the fiberglass bodywork that's been strewn there. And Justin Kuntz, what a shame that was from him. Let's just have a quick look at Justin Kuntz. This will be Justin, I think, pulling off the circuit. There goes Veronese. Quick replay of him being chased by Advait Deoda. Now, this is another fight that I was picking up, and this is Ian-Eric Varden, the number 44 car, under pressure from Nave Talor off the back of the grid. So watch out towards that one, the number 40 and the 90 getting themselves together. The lead trio are getting themselves together once more as well. The lead advantage was 1.3 seconds. Now, I think Tobias Downhauer might have closed that up just a shade on this lap, but we are only part the way around the lap. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, Tobias Downhauer was 0.2 of a second quicker. There you can see the tyre failure, and it's not just bodywork, there is tyre carcass sitting on the start-finish line, so it's not surprising that drivers swerve to avoid it. And Justin Kuntz realising very quickly that all was going awry and moved the car out of harm's way, and had the common sense to park it behind the barriers as well. What must have, certainly for a brief second, spiked the heart rate. And fantastic work by our marshals as well here in Circuit Ricardo Tormo, braving the aspects that get out on the circuit, pick up tyre and bodywork and get themselves back over the pit wall out of harm's way. So circuit is clear. It's saved us it's saved us a safety car. Now, lead advantage did come down. I said I thought Tobias Downhow was catching Martin Dubeck. Well, he was half a second quicker that last lap through, and he's bringing with him Vladimiris Joitsis as well. Joitsis matched the lap time for Tobias Downhow last time through as they're pushing each other. So the gap first to third is now 1.3 seconds, whereas on the lap prior, the gap first to second was 1.3. So half-distance lap, really now. We are halfway through this race. It's gone green all of the way, just like EuroNASCAR Pro did earlier on. We do have the capacity to go full course caution, of course. There is the opportunity for the free pass as well. We could head into overtime if need be as well, but there's only one attempt at an overtime restart. We don't get multiple attempts if we head towards overtime. And at the moment, there are no signs of anything other than a very good, a very clean, a very pure race here. Ford 1, 2, 3. I did say in EuroNASCAR 2 that Ford had been the mark to claim more victories than anybody. Fords have gone to victory lane 8 times in the past in EuroNASCAR 2 races. Chevy only 5 times. And at the moment, unless something drastic happens, and it looks as though it's going to be another Ford that's going to go towards victory lane, because they are first and second and third at the moment. Pierluigi Veronesi sits there in 4th place at the wheel of, as they're badged for this year again, the EuroNASCAR FJ car. And Advait Dioda is there in 5th position at the wheel of his Ford as well. Now, the leading legend driver that we have in the field, remember that's the drivers that are aged 14 over, is still in 6th place, number 88 car, in the hands of Cal Racing driver, his Chevy, which is Max Lancer. The leading rookie we've got is in 9th position, which is Alberto Panebianco for Not Only Motorsport with his Chevy. And the leading lady in the field is the driver with the most starts here, 13 race starts now for Ariana Casali, who for Cal Racing once more, the number 54 car, leads the lady trophy. She's in 16th. Now, Dubeck has got his foot back down again on this lap, because it looks as though the gap first to second has increased again. Just a shade, not by much. Through the second sector of the lap, Tobias Downhow and Vladimiris Joitsis absolutely matching each other to the nearest 100th of a second. We're only 700th of a second slower than Martin Dubeck through that middle section of the lap. And they now head up towards Championneros once more through the very, very fast turn number 12 right-hander. Start to climb back up the hill yet again. At the moment, Martin Dubeck seems to have everything under control. Remember, he's already got 2 career wins under his belt, the Czech driver. Tobias Downhow has got 3 career wins under his belt, but at the moment, I think his focus is less so on winning, it's more so on trying to hang on to second place, because Vladimiris Joitsis is just not going away, is he? Here comes Pierluigi Veronesi over the start-finish line. The black car with its day-glow flashes, still being hounded and shadowed by the Ford in the hands of Advait Dioda that sits behind. Then Max Lancer comes through. Simon Palat not too far behind him. And then the number 2 car in the hands of Tom Krasinas as well. And there goes Simon Palat. We had a quick chat to Simon earlier on in the qualification session. He is pushing hard. Thought he was going to run wide there, but he managed to get the car turned into the corner, the 19-year-old Belgian, in his efforts to try and hunt down former motorcycle racer Max Lancer, the Italian that lies ahead at the wheel of the number 88 car. Back to Sharper. Now there's the remains of Justin Kuntz's car. So most of that is superficial damage, just because of the fiberglass bodywork that's ripped itself apart as the tyre has failed. I would imagine maybe a bit of debris or a little bit of contact has caused that to fail. The Hoosier engineers will have a look into that, who work so in hand and in partnership with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series for this season, and they will look into exactly why that may have failed, and then there will have to be a reserve tyre put into place for Justin Kuntz for the remainder of the weekend. Remember, 4 brand new ones, 2 carried over from free practice, gives you 6 tyres to play with, but if there is damage, if it's agreed by the officials, you can bring an extra tyre into play. But it would have to be another used tyre. It could not be a brand new one. So here we go now. Vladimir's Choice is trying to get a good run coming out of Adrian Campos. There's plenty of time to slipstream down this straight. As we heard from Fred Gabion, this circuit allows the fastest terminal speed, really, that these cars get to all season. It's a 650-metre straight. That's 2,130 feet there or thereabouts. And it's about the only point on the circuit where the cars get into fourth gear. The rest of the circuit, it's all shorter straights and corners, and therefore it's largely all taken in second and third gear, the vast majority of it. Now Martin Dubeck now enjoys a 1.6 second lead, as you can see to the left of your screens. That is the largest lead that he's had since the race got underway. They are now on lap number 11. Tobias Dauenhauer just looking to try and hang on to second place. Vladimir's Choices looking good for another podium here, but ideally he doesn't want third. He would much rather be a step higher come the podium a little bit later on. But is the gap going to open for him? And does he risk it as well? You know, where you can only afford to have 2 joker rounds. You have your 12 rounds of the regular season, 14 rounds in total, but the final 2 are double point scoring. So for the first 12, it's 40 points for a win, 35 for second, 34 for third, and of those first 12, you count your best 10. You can drop 2 rounds. Well, that means consistency, as ever in motorsport or in life generally, is the key. And for Choices, is it really worth it? Is it worth trying to gain second and 1 extra championship point at the risk of maybe having an incident? Well, it's not stopping him. I think somebody hasn't told Vladimir's Choices that, because he was hoping the door would open, then realised it wasn't, so moved his way back to the right-hand side of the circuit to take as wide a line into Adrian Campos as he could, try and get another better run on Tobias Dauenhauer this time as they come over the start-finish line. But for the moment, the German is standing firm. This is Ariana Casserly, number 54 car, fighting with Didier Beck there, so that's be for 15th and 16th positions, I think that will be. But the Choices, he's looking one way, looking the other, but I've got to say, you know, sensible driving from them both. They are pushing each other to the ragged edge. Need to be careful here that they don't end up trying anything too silly. Frustration will build, I'm sure, for Vladimir's Choices, but Tobias Dauenhauer is just making sure he gets the car positioned where he needs it to be, gets cleanly off the corners, and that makes it not impossible, but hugely difficult for the car behind to try and wiggle its way through, because they are all identical. Is he going to try anything here? Choices, he thought about it again as they went up towards Aniel Nieto, and this time he's got the overlap coming out. He'll have the inside line for Curva de la Afición and for Bernard Martinez, which is turns number 7 and turn number 8. They head through turn number 7, Curva de la Afición, up towards turn number 8 and Bernard Martinez, and through goes Vladimir's Choices to pick up second position. Fantastic stuff from the Cypriot. And for Tobias Dauenhauer, I think that had been coming. I think Choices had been the quicker car for the last few laps, but just couldn't unlock the door. And finally, it was just ajar enough, really. And Choices thought, right, I'm having that. I'm going through. So through goes the Academy Motorsport, Alex Caffey Motorsport car, the new team working in partnership for this season. So Academy Motorsport with Alex Caffey supporting them technically and in terms of the preparation of the cars. But Choices going through. A man who, like so many younger drivers, has come through the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series recruitment programme. Now, what can he do about trying to close what is now a 2-second gap between himself and Martin Dubeck? It might have gone out a shade further. Here's the replay again. Grabbed the inside on the previous corner, had the inside line for Curva de la Afición. By the time they got to Bernard Martinez, signed, sealed, delivered, and off into the gravel goes Didier Beck, I'm afraid. So returning to the championship, Didier Beck. We saw him racing, 2013 through to 2018. I don't think we saw anything in 19. We certainly didn't see anything of him in 20. But he is off, I'm afraid, and in the gravel somewhere. And that is in the 3rd sector of the 4 that the track is broken into here. So I'm guessing that may well be at Adrian Campos, where he's gone off the final corner. Now, Choices is starting to pull away a little bit from Tobias Dauenhauer. Now that he's taken up second place, the gap to the leader is now up to 2.9 seconds, so it went out another 9/10 of a second, but that was because Choices was in the process of trying to overtake Dauenhauer. Now this is the first totally clear lap that he's had. Let's just have a quick look at Didier Beck, trying way too hard to try and do something with Ariana Casserly, and indeed, yeah, has dropped the car into the gravel trap, and that is on the outside of Adrian Campos, turn number 14. That'll be covered by, for the moment, localised yellow flags. Let's hope that it doesn't bring about a safety car, because we are now on lap number 13 of the scheduled 15. 2.9 seconds was the gap. What's it going to be like at the end of this one? There's no doubt that Choices is pulling away from the number 50 Ford now in the hands of the runner-up in EuroNASCAR 2 last year, Tobias Dauenhauer. But is he closing the gap on the race leader? I'm not entirely convinced that he is. So, onto lap number 14 they will go, I think this will be. So, over the start-finish line, and the gap has come down. No, it has come down. It was 2.9. It's now down to 2.6. So Choices is just closing the gap very, very slightly. In the background, that was Advait Dioda, who's run wide and off and into the gravel trap. I'm afraid to say that's Simon Palat, I think, that's gone off. So Simon Palat's gone off. Now, is there something down there on the track? Because not only have we seen Didier Beck go off the circuit, we also just saw Advait Dioda run very, very wide, and a split second later, off went Simon Palat into the gravel at the wheel of the number 66 car. So that puts the 19-year-old Belgian out of the race, I would imagine. Two cars stuck there in the gravel. And yet Simon Palat, it's beached. He's going nowhere, I'm afraid. The wheel's spinning, and he is not going to be able to rejoin this race, I'm afraid. There is Thomas Krasinas. What a race he's had. I've got to say, hats off to him. He has had a season out, or a couple of seasons out, Thomas Krasinas, from joining us in the 2019 championship season. And he started, where did he start? 14th on the grid. He's up into 7th position now. However, the biggest mover, now I'm doing this mathematically just by myself, is going to be Nave Talor, who's up to 8th now, having started 23rd. And for Francesco Caristo, we just saw the number 42 there. He's had a real yo-yo race, hasn't he? He started, what was it? It was 4th, dropped down to something like 18th, and is now back up into 10th, I think. So he's had a real yo-yo of a race. So confirmation that we are going to cover this with just localised yellow flags. Now that again is number 56, which is Advait Dioda, who really seems to be struggling towards the end of this race. Through goes Thomas Krasinas and takes the place away. The number 90 car is also going to go through as well, which is Nave Talor, which allows him to pick up another place. And onto the final lap now goes our race leader. So Martin Dubeck onto his last lap of the race, and at the moment leading by a comfortable 2.5 seconds. He can just afford, as he flicks his way through turn number 3, to control the race towards the end now. I do fear, though, for what is Advait Dioda, that something is not quite right with his car, because he's dropped down into 8th position, and I think he is subsequently going to get caught by another couple as well. So I think he might struggle to stay inside the top 10. Max Lanza still leading the legend category in 5th position. The leading rookie is Alberto Panabianco, who's there in 10th position, and Ariana Castley is leading the Lady Trophy at this stage. But it looks as though the man who is heading towards victory lane is only half a lap away from doing so now, and that is Martin Dubeck. We saw the number 7 car go to victory lane earlier on in the EuroNASCAR Pro race in the hands of Loris Hazemans. Well, it looks as though his driver that he shares the car with, which is Martin Dubeck, is surely going to head towards victory lane in this one, which means that it will be a great start, not just for both drivers in their respective championships, EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2, and off has gone, I'm afraid, Advait Dioda. I did fear there was something not quite right with that Cal Racing Ford off and into the gravel, but for the number 7 car, it's another victory, which means that also puts the number 7 Hendricks car in a very strong position in the early stages of the team's championship for 2021. Checkered flag flies. Martin Dubeck goes to victory lane for the 3rd time in his career in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series EuroNASCAR 2 division. 2nd for Vladimiris Choices. I think that is his best finish in a EuroNASCAR 2 race as well. We saw him on the podium here in Valencia, but I think, on the top of my head, it was 3rd in December, whereas it's 2nd now, a step higher for him. And Tobias Dauenhauer is 3rd. Forlorn sight sitting in the gravel trap there, I'm afraid to say, is Advait Dioda, who really was struggling towards the end there. We saw him run wide a few times. Something clearly wasn't quite right with that car. It does make me wonder, with other spins and Simon Palat going into the gravel, maybe whether there was a little bit of oil or a little bit of coolant or something just coming out of that car, and that was maybe why he was struggling, dropping it onto his own tyres, and possibly why Simon Palat also had his issue, because he was following that car around at the point he went into the gravel. But that's just me trying to make sense of what was unfolding in front of me. So the cars just about to, the last few, take the checkered flag. There goes Ariana Casserly, who is on course for a win in the Lady Trophy. She was a Legend champion last year. She's twice a Lady Trophy champion, and she's going to pick up maximum points in that particular category as well. Miguel Gomez, the Portuguese driver, just coming through as well, making his debut in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, a driver who's raced European late models in the past. His black car with its light green flashes, I think he's almost going to be the last of those to take the checkered flag. But for Ariana Casserly, that is another solid performance for her. That now means she has chalked up, what's that, 13 starts here at Valencia. But the victory lane celebrations will go the way of Martin Dubeck. He will be as pleased as punch that he's got his season in EuroNASCAR 2 off to the very, very best possible start. They work their way around and into the pit lane. A little bit of clearing up still to be done, of course, following the likes of Didier Beck and Simon Palat's car dropping themselves into the gravel trap, and Justin Coote's car with that front left puncture. But it is the number 7 Hendricks Ford that for the second time today goes towards victory lane. It won the EuroNASCAR Pro Race in the hands of Loris Hazemans, and that car back out again in the hands of the driver that drives it in EuroNASCAR 2, the Czech driver Martin Dubeck, is going towards victory lane. I mentioned earlier on in EuroNASCAR Pro that Martin Dubeck and Loris Hazemans have worked really, really closely together to find a setup on this car that they both like, because if one driver likes it and the other one doesn't, that compromises one driver's championship. So you've got to work with your driver that you're sharing a car with to find a setup that, it might be a compromise setup where you're not entirely happy with it because of your driving style, but you've got to bear in mind that the other driver prefers that. So you have to work with each other to find a setup that ticks the box to a large degree for both of you. And as long as you do, that is going to put yourself in a strong position for your respective championship. Your fellow driver you share the car with in a strong position for their respective championship, and the two of you together scoring points in the same car puts the car itself in a really strong position for the team's championship. And that is exactly what that is exactly what Loris Hazemans and Martin Dubeck have both delivered on, and Hendricks Motorsport have delivered on with their mechanics, because not only has that car gone to victory lane twice, it's also set the fastest lap in both races, which means that that car will start from pole position, subject to official confirmation, for tomorrow's EuroNASCAR 2 race that takes place in the morning. So there is Martin Dubeck. He will have a big old smile on his face, Martin Dubeck. We are scheduled after the NASCAR Grand Prix of Spain to head towards his home country and Most in the Czech Republic for his home NASCAR Grand Prix next time out. So he will be delighted with that one. Andre Weigold will be down there ready to gauge some reaction, but the first reaction will be to congratulate the team that have given him such a strong car and have given, well, the number 7 such a great run, both in qualifying sessions for EuroNASCAR Pro and EuroNASCAR 2, and in both of their respective races today. You can see what it means. There's a long way to go in this championship. That's just the first of 14 races throughout the course of the 2021 season as we travel through Spain, the Czech Republic, UK, Germany, Croatia, Belgium and Italy, all scheduled to be on the calendar for this season. And well, Martin Dubeck has claimed his first victory of the season. I'm sure it won't be his last, but more importantly, his 3rd career victory in EuroNASCAR 2. On goes the mask, on goes the hat, and it's time to hand downstairs to Andre to chat to the race winner.
Martin Dubeck, the winner of the EuroNASCAR 2 race 1 of the 2021 season. It's your 3rd career win. It was a flag-to-flag win, and it looked so easy. Was it that easy?
Yeah, I cannot say that it was easy, but not so hard. So from pole position was good. I'm very, very happy.
What do you expect for the race tomorrow?
I think I have again the fastest lap. So pole position again, and I hope it will be same race like today.
So you're now a 3-time EuroNASCAR race winner. Do you dream of the title?
Maybe. So this is the first race of the season. We will see tomorrow and another races, but I think it's possible.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
There we go, great to hear from Martin Dubeck. He finished 7th in the championship standings last year, and well, he's certainly going to be one to watch out for this year. There he goes, taking the checkered flag and the first victory of the season from Vladimiras Choitzis and Tobias Dauenhauer, who finished in third position. I think it will be Martin Dubek and Tobias Dauenhauer that will line up on the front row of the grid for tomorrow's race. So hopefully I can just now guide you through the results as the cars of Didier Beck, and we can see the number 66 of Simon Palat are winched away. We haven't got a results page that we can bring you, but we might be able to bring the graphics up on the left-hand side of the screen, at least give us the running order, and then we'll hang around before we can head towards the podium. So the win went the way of that number 7 car there in victory lane. Who will claim the win. Before we run through the full results, let's just look back at some of the highlights, however, of our first EuroNASCAR 2 race.
Yeah. Can we do another interview?
Yeah.
Okay, I have one.
So when the lights went out, it was a charge up towards Asper, where Martin Dubek grabbed the lead from pole position of the race and was followed in towards the corner by Tobias Dauenhauer, who briefly took up second position with Vladimiras Choitzis in third. Choitzis, though, was trying to fight his way back, and the two ran side by side through turns number 9, 10 and up towards 11. Tobias Dauenhauer eventually managing to hang on to second place. For Justin Kuntz, there was a tyre blowout at the fastest point of the circuit, which meant that he had to retire his car, and that put the German out of a strong position, running inside the top 6. Ariana Cassely and Didier Beck were having a great fight further down through the order, but eventually, towards the sharp end, Vladimiras Choitzis took his opportunity, seized second place, and was able to pull away from Tobias Dauenhauer. Didier Beck had problems heading in towards Adrian Campos and deposited the RDV competition number 10 Chevy into the gravel, followed shortly thereafter by Simon Palat, who lost the tail end of the DF1 Racing Chevy. But it was Martin Dubek that came home to claim the first win in EuroNASCAR 2 in the 2021 championship season, from Vladimiras Choitzis in second place and Tobias Dauenhauer, who finished in third position. Delight in the victory lane for the Czech driver. Congratulations to him for claiming the win. So that is Tobias Dauenhauer, the winner. Second was number 1, Vladimiras Choitzis, and third was Tobias Dauenhauer. Pierluigi Veronese was in fourth. Fifth, and the leading car in the Legend Trophy was Max Lancer. Completing the top 6 was Nave Tala. I'll guide you through the rest of the results in a few moments, because I think we can hand back downstairs to the pit lane.
We are here with Vladimiras Choitzis, who finally ended up a second in a very busy race. Just talk us through those battles you had.
Yeah, thank you very much. It was a difficult race from the beginning. We lose one place at the start from Dauenhauer, but as I said, the race is changeable until the last lap. So I was looking at his mistakes, and I take the advantage a few laps before the end. So I managed to take the second place, and okay, it took us a little bit more than the normal, but the good that we finished in second place.
What are you expecting for the race tomorrow?
Sure, my aim is to win, and in Valencia we had our best result last year, so I want to win, and I hope that I will manage to do it.
All right, thank you very much, Vladimiras Choitzis.
Thanks, Andre. Yeah, good to hear from Vladimiras Choitzis. So we just got to Nave Tala, who finished in 6th place. We will be hanging around for the podium celebrations as well, and the podium ceremonies. 7th place was Thomas Krasinas. 8th place was Francesco Garisto. And 9th place, the leading rookie home, was the number 89 car in the hands of Alberto Panabianco. Completing the top 10 was Yevgen Sokolovsky. 11th was Ian-Eric Varden. 12th was Levi Lintercanto. And 13th, the winner of the Lady Trophy, was Ariana Cassely. Miguel Gomez finishing 14th in his debut, with Eric Quintal finishing in 15th place, and Alina Leudniger finishing in 16th, having done 0 laps in qualifying this morning. Retirements, I'm afraid, for the likes of Advait Dioda, for Simon Palat, for Didier Beck. Paolo Valeri did finish, but was several laps adrift. And as we saw, there were also issues for Justin Kuntz early on in the race, and for the unfortunate Fabrizio Amata, who didn't even complete the outlap and make it onto the grid. So the drivers will be heading up towards the podium area, where hopefully we'll be able to get some podium celebrations underway. We can see that the number 56 car being towed back in towards the pit lane area. So it clearly was some sort of mechanical issue for Advait Deodar, who started to lose pace a little bit, ran wide a few times. It really seemed to be struggling with the handling of that car before it eventually caught him out a little bit and made him retire very late on in the race for what otherwise was going to be a really strong run for the returning Indian driver, but just wasn't to be, I'm afraid, for the driver that finished 9th in the EuroNASCAR 2 standings back in 2019. So the podium celebrations are in the process of being readied. We do have a quick video that I can show you, but I am concerned that if we throw to it, then all of a sudden I know what's going to happen. They'll be ready to go on the podium. So we'll hang around for the moment. Maybe we can pick up on that after we have had our podiums, which will be for the top 3 drivers overall. We will have a separate podium for the legend category, a separate podium for the rookie category, and also we will have our winning driver from the Lady Trophy on the podium as well. So the sort of 3 and a bit podiums that we will need to get through over the course of the next few minutes. So our hardworking marshals here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo and the rescue crews and breakdown crews just towing the stricken cars back in. That's the last track activity for them today, but they'll go to work repairing them ready for tomorrow. I think we can hand back down for a further interview with Andre.
I'm here with the rookie trophy winner, Alberto Panebianco. Let's start like this. You're a newcomer in the series. How is it to tame those V8 monsters?
First of all, I'm out of breath. These are serious fast cars, so much hard to drive, and it's very hot inside the cockpit. I think it was like 16 degrees Celsius out there, so definitely it's hard, but they're so fun to drive. I mean, there's no electronic assist, pure racing, side by side. I had a couple of fights, and I want to thank first EuroNASCAR, and second my team. Big thanks to my team. I owe my life to them, especially to Luca, Simona, Daniele, Lorenzo, Davide, Frate Boe, and I'm so happy. I don't know what to say.
All right, thank you very much. Congratulations. I will send you now to the podium, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
Fantastic stuff from Alberto Panebianco. You could see how hot, how tired he was. You might just have spotted the bandage on his right hand as well, because, of course, they are all left-hand drive cars, and therefore you shift with your right, albeit there is that sequential gearbox option for this year, but most of the cars out there are still running the manual. And yeah, just a little bit of strapping to the hand to, I suppose, ease with what we tend to see are usually blisters on the palm, which means that once you get one, it makes it even more painful to shift. So you've got to do something to try and prevent it blistering or causing you more grief whilst you're racing. And for Alberto Panebianco, he can relax a little bit, cool down after the podium, but he's got it all to do again tomorrow here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, because we are only on day number 1. So I'm hoping... There we go. So on to the podium. There we go. That is our top 3 drivers on the podium. In the centre is Martin Dubek, followed by Vladimiris Choitsis and Tobias Downhow. And now I think it's time for the national anthem of the winning driver. So that's the top 3 overall on the podium. Once we have had our podium celebrations for the top 3 on the podium, apologies, we couldn't quite hear the national anthem there. I think it was a mixture of the positioning of our camera and the breeze that's hitting it as well. So a very proud looking Martin Dubek stands on the top step of the podium for the 3rd time in his EuroNASCAR 2 career. So that's the national anthems done. The drivers will present their own trophies. Because of social distancing, there will not be the regular VIPs and partner guests that will be presenting the trophies. The drivers present themselves with their trophies. We will allow photographs to be taken, and then once they have had the final few celebrations there on the podium, it will then be time to bring out our next batch of 3 drivers. So the last few photographs to be taken, well, they all bunch up on the top step of the podium. All equivalent heights, aren't they? There's nothing to choose between them almost. Maybe Vladimiris Choitsis is slightly shorter than the rest, but they match each other for height. The NASCAR Whelen Euro Series champagne about to fly on the podium for the first time in EuroNASCAR 2 over the course of the 2021 season. And there we go. saving the overalls for tomorrow. Or all right, okay. Vladimir's choices on other ideas about it. So there we go. That is our first podium done and dusted. That is the overall podium for the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Whelen Engineering Company, one of our key supporters, as are Kenol Performance Oils. TJ, who provide the winners' rings and the championship trophy as well. Hoosier Tyres, who we've seen all the drivers wearing their Hoosier Tyres hat. And I've got to say, iRacing as well, on board for this year as well. We sincerely thank them for their support with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and in particular the EuroNASCAR eSports Series as well. So first podium done and dusted. They will just redress the podium, and then we will see the podium heading out for... Now, I'm not sure whether it's the Legend Trophy we're getting next or the Rookie Trophy. I think it will be the Rookies that we will see next, in which case it will be the driver we've just heard from, Alberto Panabianco, Levi Lintercantu, and on his debut, Miguel Gomez, the Portuguese driver, I think will be the three that will head out onto the Circuit Ricardo Tormo podium. In fact, no, having said that, it's the Legend podium. So there is Max Lancer in the middle of the Legend podium. Alongside him is Yevgen Sokolovsky to his left, and on the right-hand side of your screen is Ian-Eric Varden, a former Legend Trophy champion as well. So congratulations to Max Lancer, and I've got to say, considering that that is his... I think is that his first NASCAR race back since breaking his wrist at Grobnik. So well done to Max for that one as well. So congratulations to Max Lancer for winning the Legend Trophy, to Yevgen Sokolovsky and to Ian-Eric Varden, who were our top three drivers in the Legend Trophy. Now that is for drivers aged 40 and over that take part in the EuroNASCAR 2 division, which means the next of the podiums we're going to get will be our rookie podium that will be coming up very shortly, and that will be Alberto Panabianco, Levi Lintercantu, and Miguel Gomez, who will be heading out onto the podium very shortly for what will be a brief podium, because we don't have any guests or VIPs to introduce or to bring out onto the podium. It's a lot quicker. So there goes Miguel Gomez over to the right of your screen. Onto the podium now comes Levi Lintercantu, the Scandinavian, and the top step of the podium. Sorry, it's Miguel Gomez, Levi Lintercantu, and there is Alberto Panabianco on the top step of the podium. Our rookie podium for the drivers in their first year of the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, regardless of their age, regardless of their experience. They're just in this championship for their first full season, so they head on to the rookie podium. Congratulations to our race winner, Alberto Panabianco, in the centre of your screen. To the left as you look at it, Levi Lintercantu, and to the right of the screen as you look at it is Miguel Gomez, Portuguese driver in his debut in the series as well. Has raced late models in Europe in the past, but in his first weekend of racing, he's on the podium in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Elite 2 division. And for Levi Lintercantu, he is pretty new into his career of racing as well. He just did the finals last year here at Valencia, as did Alberto Panabianco as well. They were both present for the Super Speed Week finals. And then just one more podium to deal with, and that will be for the winner of the Lady Trophy, which was largely dominated by Julia Landauer last year in EuroNASCAR 2, who went on, the American, to finish 5th overall in the standings. But it is Ariana Casserly who is the winner of the Lady Trophy. She heads out onto the podium now. I can hear it in the background, to receive her trophy as the winner of the Lady category. So congratulations to Ariana Casserly. She is the reigning Legend Trophy winner in EuroNASCAR 2. She's twice a former Lady Trophy winner as well. So congratulations to Ariana Casserly. So that is racing done and dusted for the moment here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. We can bring you up the way the rest of the weekend looks, though, and the other live streams that we have coming up, because we've got more live racing to come tomorrow here at Circuit Ricardo Tormo, and it will start in the morning with the EuroNASCAR 2 race. We've got a graphic that we should be able to bring up that shows you that. We go live at 10:15 in the morning, Central European time, which is 4:45 Eastern time if you're watching in the US, with our second EuroNASCAR 2 race. And then our EuroNASCAR Pro cars come back out onto circuit at 14:15 at Central European time. That is 8:45 a.m. Eastern time in the US. So from myself, Mark Werrell, everybody from the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, thanks for joining us at Circuit Ricardo Tormo. We'll see you again tomorrow for some more pure racing with the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Until then, goodbye.